Dari, hello. It's towards the end of May 2022 and my short but very sweet Tesla 3 ownership is going to come to an end today. And I thought I'd make a little review about the car and why it is so absolutely wonderful. I may be helped by my assistant, but she's quite fussy, but you can see even she likes this car. As part of my birthday celebration month, we've had use of this Tesla Model 3, and I'm going to try and go through all the features that have appealed to me and why it's a brilliant car, although you're going to spend about, in the UK, £60,000 on the best new example. Okay, so I think the best place to start would be the dash. So it's a very clean interior, and I think that's one of the aspects that I absolutely love about this car. It's a sort of minimalist's dream. Now, in order to make that a reality, everything is controlled from this single large, in a way, landscape looking like, but larger than iPad. So I'm going to go through all of these controls and tell you some of the amazing things that you will see here. And in fact, because this single control panel controls all aspects of the car, once you understand this control panel, you understand the car. Okay, so this is a Tesla Model 3. It's a dual motor, which means it's got four-wheel drive, and it's actually got the 18-inch wheels, so it's the smallest of the wheel options. So I hope you can see that. I'm going to try and refocus that. So we're on the controls setting. I'm logged in as guest. We've got the light settings. We've got the ability to fold the mirrors, put a child lock on, set window locks, open the glove box. There's no glove box button. Again, I guess, as I said before, it's a minimalist's dream. So to open the glove box, you're actually pressing a button. Windscreen wiper controls. There are mirror controls here, and these buttons on the steering wheel is how you actually move up and down the mirrors. So there's no physical control of the mirrors, and there are no levers or levers or whatever you like to call it to move those mirrors, and there are no buttons. So in general terms, there are no buttons really in the whole car, except for, say, the window controls, the get out of the door control, the automatic, if you like, gearbox control. You press the button at the end here to get park, and there's a few buttons at the back. The vents at the back for the passenger are controlled with a physical slide. But other than that, there's basically nothing that kind of is button like. Everything is controlled from this panel. So where are we? On the top menu. I'm sorry this is going to take a while, but again, once you've seen all of this, you'll understand the car and the brilliance of everything. So I believe Sentry mode is where it can act, the cameras outside the car can act as a sentry to your system and record any activity that's seen. At the bottom of the display, you've got the apps, which I don't believe there's an app store. You've got the temperature controls for each person, and if you were to hold, if you'd hold constantly, you switch off the heating or ventilation, and if you switch up like that, you get a bigger view, and then you can customize exactly left and right, or put them together. You can put air conditioning on, you can have it on auto, etc. Let's switch that off. So let's go to, so we're back to the screen here showing the car. By the way, of course, there's nothing to, there are no buttons to open the front boot or the back boot. So we'll open it. This doesn't mean it's open, it means you can open it by pressing this. Press it there. So that's open, and it's opening the back. As you can see, the back is electric. Okay, so back to the main panel, and even. So we have got to the end of that first menu, pedals and steering. So we have acceleration, which is chill mode or standard. We've got the steering responsiveness, which is comfort, standard or sport, and how to behave when the car is at a stop. Do you want it to hold the car, which we found to be the most interesting? Do you want it to creep forward? or do you just want it to like roll like it's a regular car and the brakes are off, which we definitely did not want. So this is very good. It means to say when you take your foot off the brake, so as you take your foot off the accelerator, the car brakes naturally, using its regenerative braking quite heavily, and then it comes to a complete stop. In fact, the regenerative braking is so strong that except for emergency situations, you never need to touch the brake. Like even coming to a roundabout and you're doing 70 miles an hour, you just decrease from the dual carriageway limit speed down to, you know, the speed that you can comfortably get round a roundabout. Even at the legal limit, I've found you do not need to press the brake pedal. That's how fast the regenerative braking brings you to a halt. Okay, I'm sorry, we're 5 minutes into the video and I've got a lot more to tell you, but bear with me. I think it's going to be worth it if you're a potential Tesla 3 owner, or desire to own a Tesla 3, or desire to know all of the little things about a Tesla 3. I think this is a great video to watch, if I say so myself. We've had an absolutely wonderful time with this car, and funds permitting, we'd love to have this car. Don't forget the Tesla 3 and the Tesla Y, these sort of entry-level cars. The Tesla 3 is physically thinner and shorter than the Model Y, but the Model Y is a bit more, a higher driving position, and the rear tailgate is more conventional, and we'll come to that when we walk around the car. Okay, so we've got the kind of performance screen, if you like, here. This is what you want to do if you want to impress your friends. You put it onto standard, you put the steering into sport, and then you find a bit of flat straight road and you put your foot down, and this car really does accelerate. The acceleration is so strong. I put 2 or 3 friends in the car in different occasions, and just putting your foot down, say from 50 to 70 on a dual carriageway, it's just instantaneous acceleration. We were being followed by a Lamborghini yesterday, and I was itching for them to get a bit of straight road, but they turned off before I had the opportunity to leave them standing. It's such a shame. Right, charging. So there are different ways to charge the car. We've know about the supercharger points, but we haven't actually used them. I would say if you go to the map and you search for the charging button, you can search for supercharger points by, so you can search for charging points by the supercharger network, which is a Tesla owned network. I mean, they are opening it up to other people, but at the moment it's basically a Tesla only network, and you'll have had to have registered with that network when you bought the car. So when you go to a supercharger network, you just plug in. There's no fumbling for your credit card because you already have an account with them. So if you include other means of charging, you'll see that here you see that if you include the lowest 6 kilowatt number 1, which is the lowest charging capacity, you see there's in our case in miles we have a charging point 8.5 miles away, but if we go to superchargers, we'll find that the closest one is 15 miles away. I think if I click on it, it gives you a route, but okay, there's a way to see how many ports are free. I don't know what that is offhand. Okay, so next, where are we? We've sidetracked a little bit there. We're going to the charging station, so you can see how well the car is charged. You can open the charging port, and you can see in the mirror the charging port opened, and like I say, close the charging port. Charging port closes. We can restrict the amount of charge that you would get through the 13 amp plug, so the standard British mains plug, which when you plugged it in, we plugged it in last night to charge this car, and it took it from its 50 something percent to 79%. You can schedule when you want that charging, so if you've got a cheaper rate of electricity, you can set that. That's just wonderful. Autopilot, so this is in beta. What we've discovered, if we'd had the car for long, we would have obviously gone onto the forums to double check and triple check, but this car is able to follow the aligned road and steer gently. It does not cope with roundabouts. It just copes with an open road, and it's very effective at doing that. You need to keep your hands on the steering wheel. Every 30 seconds it's going to ask you to maintain your hands on the wheel, just nudge that steering wheel. So that's to ensure that you aren't taking the piss and have gone in the back seat to have a coffee. Okay, locks. So I think we've got to the main parts here. We've got different phones that have been installed for locking. We've got the lights of the car. The headlights are set to auto. The internal lights are set to off. Dome lights have been switched off. We've got different options for the automatic high beam. Okay, for the display itself, we've got English language settings. We've had various trips, I'm not going to show you that. Navigation, automatic navigation, trip planner, and that trip planner, if you navigate for a long distance, will put in the supercharger stops and tell you what modest stops you need to make at each supercharger to have a comfortable journey. So if you, for example, you're going from here to Scotland, so we're in the Midlands, it doesn't suggest you just fill up once. It'll say have a stop here and wait for 20 minutes, have a stop here, and you'll charge at this supercharger, you'll be able to put in this amount of electricity, etc. It is just superb. So again, one of the benefits of having a Tesla car is that you have the same kind of effortless driving experience as you would with a petrol car. Petrol stations are everywhere, and with the supercharger network and the Tesla's range, you can get from any point to any other point without hassle. And that's the single greatest advantage you'll have in a Tesla over any other electric car platform, because all the other platforms, you're going to need to sign into multiple accounts. You're going to not know how many stores are free at a particular charging station that you visit. You won't know if they're working. You won't know if they have a queue behind them, and your charging experience is randomized. Whereas with the Tesla network, you know exactly where the charging points are. You'll be able to know what stops to make on your trip, if it's a longer trip, and if it's a shorter trip, you've got such a long range, you can just charge at home. So I think the Tesla model does predicate on you having home charging. So you need to have a driveway, and you need to have a garage which is wide enough, as the earlier video suggested, that the car is going to fit through. Now the Model 3 just fits through our garage opening. A Model Y is, I think, a centimetre or two wider, and certainly quite a few centimetres longer. So it is a very big, as in wide and long car for us, which we don't like at all. And in fact, we don't actually know whether we could get a Model Y into our garage without the mirrors being folded, which would make it pretty difficult to drive in or out. Anyway, let's keep on to the menus. We're nearly through with the menus. Safety menu, allow mobile access, allow keyless driving, and then we just got the service menu, which you can see the car tyre pressures. Normally the car is sort of switched off at the moment. Software and upgrades. Okay, so I think we've seen everything we have to see inside this menu system. Both the front boot and the trunk are open. We're going to look around the car, and I think then we'll let you go. So we're going to open the door again. Everything's electronic here. So this is an electronic opening. There's the brake pedal. I suppose Tesla owners hardly ever replace the brake pads because they do so little braking. It's all done through regen. So as I've said before, when you take your foot off the accelerator, there's a heavy amount of braking. So it takes a little bit of getting used to from a regular petrol car where you take your foot off the accelerator and nothing normally happens. So let's go around again. This is the 18-inch wheels, the smallest of the wheel choices. You can go 18, 19 and 20. So there's the boot. There's no catch to negotiate. It's not a bad size. There's my hand. So if you had one or two shopping bags, you'd fit them in there. If you had an IKEA bag, that would fit in moderately loaded. Okay, that. Now let's go to the boot. So if you're a practical person like us, our family always likes to own a hatchback. One of the most important things is how well do the seats fold? So, oh, by the way, there's the manually vented system. You can switch the rear vents off, so there's just the two of you, as there would be for us normally. Those rear vents can be switched off. So there's a catch here to pull the seat down, and you need to go around the other side to get the other seat down. And that's a pretty large load area. It's not 100% flat, but it's a little bit angled there. Now there is a sort of camping mode, by the way, for the temperature settings of this car, which means to say that it can maintain a certain temperature and, I presume, get rid of the moisture if you happen to sleeping in this car. And we have tested whether we would fit, and we would fit in this car. It's no substitute for a motorhome, but it's a long load area, so if you're a moderately short person, you would fit. The two of you would fit. So as you can see, it's a decently long boot. Two bicycles will fit in this car, but the trouble is that this lip, so it's from the side, the glass roof, which is beautiful, by the way, to sit inside. You see there's glass there and glass there. Also means that since this is a fixed roof here, the entry opening at the boot is quite compromised by hatchback standards. So for us, putting a bicycle in the car is a must. It's something we did when in Switzerland, when we were buying a new car. We hawked a bicycle bag around to all the dealers, somewhat amazed to see us, so that's a nice way to put it. Concerned at some point when we were putting a bicycle bag in all of the cars we were testing, even things like an M3. Anyway, bicycles will fit in this car. It's a bit awkward to get them in and out. Single bicycle obviously is no problem, but two bicycles, you're going to need to do more wiggling and jiggling. Oh, one more point, almost the last point, is the size of the rear boot. It is pretty damn good. I think you would get a week shopping in there. We're choosing to put the charge cables in there, as I think most owners do, because the charge port is on the back left. I always thought having an electric operated boot in a car is a bit fancy or namby-pamby, but here we go. So I think that's really the review. This car there are 3 trim levels. You can get a two-wheel drive version of the car, you can get a 4-wheel drive version of the car, and you can get the top dog's version of the car, which has got the 20-inch wheels, a spoiler, and goes slightly faster. I think it's 160 instead of 150 miles per hour. But on British roads, that's, you know, academic. I did find that the car, I think at higher speeds, so it's already been tested up to the national speed limit, but I've sort of wheeled the car around at 70. I did feel like it was a heavy car. It didn't feel like a sports car. And that would be, you know, in terms of negatives for the Tesla, I think the only real negative I can talk about is the fact that this car is a heavy car, and so it can't, you know, it can't defy the laws of physics. No matter how low the batteries are, it's still going to be difficult for it to change direction in a twisty circuit. So it's not an ideal track day car, although it'd be good off the straight line, and on any straight it'll just blow away any competition. But in terms of a daily driver, it's superb. I think for us, we would love to have a car without the back seats or with minimal rear seats, so that it would be shorter and more compact, but they don't make such a car. So for most people, the choices now are Tesla 3 and Tesla Y, and like I said, this car is slightly shorter. The driving position and the whole seating position of the car is lower than the Model Y. The rear tailgate, you can call it compromised, but the load area is still very usable. And so if you're hauling stuff around, that we always seem to be doing, and using it like a little pickup truck, it is great for that. That's it, diary. I hope you found this review, entertaining and informative, and if someone would give us a bit of wonga, we would go further and definitely buy one of these wonderful vehicles. Thanks so much for watching.